long and short vowel sounds in Dutch and how to spell them.
Have a look at this Dutch sentence.
In de straat waar ik woon staat één heel grote boom.
Perhaps you're struck by the number of words with doubled vowels. Straat, waar, woon, staat, één, heel, boom. Now look at this one.
Deze flessen zijn leeg en zitten vol spinnen.
Notice that in Dutch many words have doubled consonants too. That is the same consonant twice. Flessen, zitten, spinnen.
In this video we will concentrate on how to spell long and short vowel sounds, or, in other words, the a, e, o, and u. The doubled consonants will also come into play, and remember, when you speak, none of this matters.
First, Dutch spelling is quite phonetic. That means that what you say corresponds in most cases with what you write. This means that it helps to know about Dutch pronunciation before we talk spelling, because spelling follows pronunciation, in most cases. Time for a pronunciation rule.
Dutch does not have voiced plosives at the end of a word, so a D at the end of a word is pronounced as a T, and a B is pronounced as a P.
Ik heb een hond en een pad. De pad past in mijn hand.
So why not spell these words with a T or a P?
That is because in the plural you do hear the D and the B. Wij hebben 2 honden en 3 padden. That is just a rule.
But now comes a tricky bit. First, a bit of theory.
Dutch has so-called short and long vowels. For example, pot en poot, pen en peen, kas en kaas, put en puur. However, this does not mean that a short vowel is always written as a single letter, and the long vowel is always written as a double letter to indicate they are pronounced long. Look at this.
Straat, straten. Boot, boten. The sound stays the same, but the spelling changes. So the long sound a or o can be written with a double A or a single A, or a double O or a single O.
So, how do we know whether it is long or short?
That depends on what comes after the vowel. And this is not so strange. A similar phenomena can be seen in English.
Mat, mate, or pet, Pete.
Adding an E lengthens the sound of the vowel that comes before.
But what is actually going on here? Let's talk syllables. Syllables are little units that make up a word. Sometimes a word is just one syllable, like mat or pet, or in Dutch, gas or lamp. Other words consist of more than one syllable. Look at this sentence.
In de kamer staat een grote tafel.
These are the words that consist of one syllable.
In de staat een.
And these words have more than one syllable.
Kamer, grote, tafel. What's the difference?
In Dutch, a word consists of multiple syllables if one or more consonants occur between vowels. Straat is a single syllable, but straten has 2, because there is a T between the vowels a and e.
Here comes a rule.
A word consists of more than one syllable if one or more consonants in that word are between vowels. If you divide the word into syllables, the division falls before the consonant if it is a single consonant, or between the consonants if there are more than one.
Oh, mamma mia, that sounds complicated.
Not really. For example, tafel is split up ta-fel. Kamer is split into ka-mer. The division falls before the consonant.
Banken is split up banke. Pennen, penne. The division falls between the consonants.
And it's usually a mix, such as ballerina is split up into bal, le, ri, na. Splitting up words is quite natural. Candlestick, can, dul, stick. In Dutch, kan, de, laar. See, you can do it easily.
One more bit of theory before we produce the groundbreaking rule.
Tafel en banke.
In case of tafel, the first syllable, ta, ends in a vowel. We call that an open syllable. In case of banke, the first syllable, bang, ends in an N, so a consonant, and we call that a closed syllable. Let's go back to our earlier examples.
Straat, straat. Same sound in two different environments. Straat is a single syllable that ends in a consonant, so it's a closed syllable. Strate is two syllables, of which the first one is open because it ends in a vowel.
We are ready for a rule.
The long sounds a, o, e, u are written as a doubled vowel in a closed syllable and written as a single vowel in an open syllable. Paal, palen. Poot, poten.
Please note, change often happens when we start lengthening words. For example, when we want to put a noun in the plural form, which in Dutch is often done by adding en. Adding en is the most common culprit for turning closed syllables into open syllables and therefore causing a doubled vowel to become a single one. So, straat, singular, strate, plural. Or been, singular, bene.
But attentie, look at these words. Kaars in the plural becomes kaarse. Two syllables. Kaarse. Antwoord becomes antwoorde. So here, adding en does not open up the syllable. If a word ends in two consonants, adding en will not open up the syllable.
This may sound complicated, but we know that once you start writing and reading in Dutch, you'll start recognizing words and you will soon never think about double or single letters again. It will just start to make sense. You are writing what you hear.
Trust us.
Now let's deal with the short sounds a, e, o, u.
Kat, pet, pop, put. In order for these sounds to be short, they need to be safely tucked up in a closed syllable. See what happens here. Kat, katte.
We add the plural form en, but in this case, we also double the consonant by adding an extra t. We want the sound to remain short, so the syllable must stay closed. Katte, kat, te.
Another example. Pop becomes poppe. Vlek becomes vlekke. So in order for the short sound to stay short, you double the consonant.
Some encouragement to finish. Don't worry too much about spelling at the start, and don't panic if the open and closed syllables don't mean much to you straight away. You will develop word recognition. You will know how to spell katte, the way you know how to spell 1, 2, 3.
Which is not very phonetic, by the way. And here comes a golden tip to finish. To match sound and spelling, speak out loud whenever you can.
Well, perhaps not when you're on the bus.
No, and not in the library.
Nee, dat moet je niet doen.
Nee, dat is geen goed idee.